Hello, I am Brandon, the humble host of Actual Play Broadcast. This will serve as an introduction to our broadcast for the time being. As we record and publish more, it shall change. We are still getting things set up, so apologies for any errors, skips, or silence that may occur. Everything will be smoothed out in due time. Please enjoy our broadcasts of various RPGs, and remember to tune in for more every other week, as continuations or new adventures will be posted at such times. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Do you feel free?
Yeah, please, before I digress into talking about Savage Age Werewolf, all the potential plots you could do with that.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for what will realistically be the first episode of Aldfair.
The arms of an angel.
Yeah, it's a good thing nobody saw that other stuff we did.
Nope. Nothing at all. Nothing happened. We're totally not, 8 sessions in now?
Fucking goobers. Oh, yeah. Something like that.
We're totally not 8 sessions in, and the prior 7 weren't totally borked.
There should be a primer before this episode, so if you've not listened to the primer, go listen to the primer, unless you're cool with kind of jumping, not necessarily in media res, but pretty in the middle of some shit.
Yeah. Because definitely the start of an arc, but you lack context.
Yeah.
Yeah. You won't know why the characters are here. This is a valid starting point, but really, there's no reason to not listen to the primer unless you really want the, I guess, what was effectively the prologue to be a mystery to you.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to something on hard mode, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're into that.
Who knows?
But anyways, we're one player short this evening. Life is lifing for that player. Damiani, who is playing as Savetta, will not be joining us, but should be with us for future episodes.
Yep.
So is I do not since this is y'all's first time here, I guess I don't roleplay people's characters. If a player's not here, their character is conveniently either unavailable or a kind of silent partner in the background. Because I don't want to make decisions for players that could lead to bad things happening to their characters. I prefer the players to be fully in control of the rope they hang themselves with.
Hanging.
That said, I guess we should do some of the shit we did for episode 1, huh? So first and foremost, we're running on Pathfinder 1st edition. It's what this campaign was originally built on back in the dinosaur times. And I have feelings about other editions, so we're just going to be doing Pathfinder 1st for this. We're not going to be switching to anything else. If anybody decides to feel rules lawyery in comments or reviews or what the fuck ever, stay mad, die mad. Sometimes we're going to get rules wrong. It's going to happen. By the time you comment, weeks, if not months, have passed.
Months
since that episode was recorded. So you're not going.
Yeah, we're not going to go back and fix that.
Yeah.
Also, regarding the rules lawyering guys, there is also going to be some homebrew stuff in this. So don't.
Oh yeah. Tons of homebrew, a lot of optional rules. Like I very rarely pull things straight out of the bestiary. I typically modify them unless they're like very basic. Like, this is a dog. I'm not gonna homebrew the stats for a dog unless I'm like, no, this is a very specific dog breed for a very specific purpose. Then I might tweak it a little bit. But you find a stray dog, I'm gonna pull that from the bestiary. But
yeah.
Say, for no reason in particular, a vampire probably won't function the same way out of the bestiary as it does in this setting.
Man, it would suck if we ran into a vampire.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Oh boy. Nightmare.
So, that out of the way, real quick, let's just kind of go over like trigger warnings and shit. I'm not doing trigger warnings every episode, other than the reminder of this is an adult podcast. There's going to be adult themes. if there's ever a point you're like, this is extremely uncomfortable or whatever, do what you have to do. I'm not your fucking parent, and I'm not responsible for regulating your emotional health. You're an adult. Hopefully, if you're 12 listening to this, you should probably shut this off.
Yes.
Once again, I'm not your parent, so
you do you.
Online interactions not rated by the
ESRB, yeah.
ESRB, I guess. And this is an online interaction. That said, I mean, it is probably good to do like broad strokes trigger warnings at the beginning, just so people know what they're in for.
Like, this campaign is gonna have a lot of different shit in it.
Zach likes body horror.
I don't have a definitive plan of what happens every session. I have a vague outline, and things just kind of happen where they are. So typically at the start of a session, I can't really say for sure outside of certain things. But yes, generally speaking, I like body horror. Body horror shit comes up. That said, violence, graphic depictions of violence, loss of family, obviously like death. I mean, what else really?
We also have violence towards animals.
Bruh, if you're watching D&D streams and listening to podcasts for D&D and Pathfinder and shit, and you got a problem with violence towards animals,
you're in the wrong genre.
I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Yeah, the amount of times people fight wolves is way too high for that.
Yeah. I understand there can be some kind of finesse there about it's more about against pets and fair, I guess. I'm not going out of my way to depict animal abuse, but I'm not going to say it's not going to come up. And that's not something I'm actively going to plan for coming up. It might just happen in the spur of a moment. So, shit happens. I improv a lot of shit. I have improv experience.
Inky.
I might consider Sveto's familiar's name animal abuse if I weren't a gremlin about puns on myself anyway.
Yeah. Also, obviously, while this is adult stream, there's no sex necessarily on screen, maybe heavily implied, but no graphic descriptions of sex happening. If there is any implications of it going on, it'll kind of be glossed over in a light way. So you understand what's happening, but I'm not going to describe it. Violence against children is not necessarily off the table, but it's not really going to be graphic descriptions of child abuse. That's more likely going, if it does appear, it's going to be, once again, kind of hinted, alluded to. We're not going to open a session with some dude being drunk, beating the shit out of his son. That's not going to happen. That said, this is not Skyrim. Childs are not immortal. People don't magically go into a down state and stop taking damage.
Skyrim was the worst
shield absorb
game.
damage.
Yeah. Skyrim was the worst game to make children immortal too, because they made them obnoxious.
Fucking right. Out of all the people in Skyrim, one of the top people you want to kill is literally a child. I can't remember what all the different shit I gave. Obviously, there's no intention of having sexual assault themes or anything like that. But once again, maybe an NPC will come up that has a compelling arc. I don't have any planned, but I'm not going to say it's entirely off the table. But once again, that kind of thing will be alluded to. It's not really a heavy theme. Big things here are just the violence and potential emotional trauma from loss of family, stuff like that. Because this is not a murder hobo game. This is a game with a plot. We're going from A to B here. Stuff is happening. There are side stories. Characters have emotional shit they have to deal with, amongst other things, like the extreme sport that is saving the world, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like motocross for keeps.
Yeah. So yeah, don't just keep all that stuff in mind. You know, if you need to walk away, walk away. It's a podcast. You can pause it. You can take a break. You know, do what you got to do. Be comfortable in knowing everybody here understands what the boundaries are and all of that. We've had these discussions. We've all played together before. I'm not dropping things on players that I know they can't handle. So, and this isn't a game of Fatal, so
Never.
everything will be okay.
It will.
That's next campaign.
No.
Oh, jeez. You look at the motives for like the person who made that game. It's just like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Yeah. But anyways,
Those grab by Vision's terrible ingrate.
We should also probably introduce everyone around the table, since, technically speaking, that hasn't happened yet.
oh fuck, God.
If I want to remain
That's
a
right.
mystery and an enigma.
Yes. So the guy that is rambling, aka me, I'm Zemian or Zach. I guess predominantly I'll be referred to as Zemian during all this, but I don't care if you know my name is Zach. Just know most people will probably be referring to me as Zemian. I am obviously the GM, DM, ST, whatever the fuck you want to call it, of the game for this campaign. And yeah, somebody go next.
I'll just go from the top of the list. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the one that is in charge of editing and has seen horrors beyond mortal comprehension. I am playing Tilk Sloven, the Athmar Paladin, following the homebrew goddess Nalzandrith. It is Pathfinder, so you know you generally are connected to a deity. Yeah, that's what I got. Next.
Let's just go in the Discord order so we're not scrambling to find out who's who. So Ollie, you're up.
Oh, is it me? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Ali, and I will be playing a character by the name of Erstyle Pithson. Probably going to be more commonly called Erstyle throughout the entire session. I am playing a half-elf investigator who's gonna have a very interesting time of just trying to figure out what is going on.
So you'll be investigating.
I wrote that down in my notebook.
I still remember this.
Investigator that investigates. It's more likely than you think. All right. Next.
Sorry, it was like mid-drink of water. I am Cindrah. I am playing Liana Ryloth, a tiefling, the tiefling shadowcaster wizard. If you've watched the primer or listened to the primer, you will know that I was not a tiefling originally, at least not noticeably so. And that happened during our escape from violence, very suddenly. But over the trauma of that now, and doing my best to live my best life, which is not that great at the moment. But that's all of us, though.
Oh no, I just got one more player here. This. Yeah. Off.
Hello. I am Fiskman, or usually called Fisk for short. I am from Sweden, so this is in the morning for me. And I am playing Rhea Irwin, our resident Magus archer and currently family trauma suffering person.
All the trauma.
She's having a time. But yeah.
I think that is
And the player,
for now.
yeah, the player who's not joining us is Damiani, as I mentioned before. He is playing the character Sveta, who is a witch with her trusty snowball of a companion, Harrison, the snow hare. but there will be more from Sveta in a later session. I don't want to speak too much about the character without the player here.
Know that they're a
quick
winter
things
witch,
that you should-
winter witch.
Yes. How many times can you fit winter in your character description? That is the type of witch Damiani is playing. There are a couple things you should know about going into this game. If you're familiar at all with Pathfinder, we're using a bunch of different homebrew rules. First and foremost, characters were built on standard point buy, so they're kind of lower than the typical standard character. But we've adjusted how progression works a bit for stats. So they're going to start lower than what a normal character would, but they're also going to gain more every time they get stats. So they're going to grow in that regard better than a character normally would. Nobody here has an evil alignment. So if you have any concerns about, people trying to be edgy or whatever, that's not going on.
We'll find different ways.
Yeah.
I'm edgy and aesthetic.
Yeah. There are a variety of house rules. I'm going to kind of cover all of them, kind of like real shotgun quick here. We're using some of Elephant in the Room just to kind of get rid of a couple different feat taxes, help things flow a little bit better. Cantrips are scaling. They essentially are upgraded to 1d4s. They increase how many dice they throw every 4th caster level, and every 4 levels thereafter. Copying spells doesn't cost gold anymore. You just need to have the materials to do it. We're using the corruption subsystem. If you don't know about that, it does what you think it does. There's nothing really arcane about how it was named. But it's not the same as like a corruption fetish. So if that's where your mind jumped to, I see you, but that's not what we're doing.
We're not corrupting these champions in that way.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Kinky.
If you know, you know.
Don't want to know.
We're also making use of the harvesting monster parts subsystem, or optional rules, whatever you want to call it. We're also, as kind of an optional thing if the players want to engage with it, the kingdom building rules, as well as ship combat from Ultimate Ships, siege engines, vehicles. We are also using the automatic bonus progression optional rule. I don't like +1 magic weapons. I'm not going to get into that now. But that way, people aren't hunting magic weapons just for a +1 modifier. Magic weapons can actually feel like magic weapons.
And also aren't like shit out of luck because well, you didn't get your headband of intellect, so you actually suck at this level now.
Yeah, and that will. So that affects armor. It affects like your stats and stuff because there's a lot of assumptions in Pathfinder, but not going to get too far into the weeds there.
I
we're
actually
also using exploration and movement in sandbox campaigns. So this is like a hex crawl. I'm not going like super hardcore on it, but like hex exploration is a thing. Kind of just doing it like a little bit more streamlined. We're also using called shot rules if people want to take advantage of those, as well as rules for mass combat, should it come up, permanency standardization, and last but definitely not least, Mythic Adventures. The party is currently Mythic Tier 1. If you don't know what that means, either look it up or buckle in because you're going to find out real fast. It's going to become pretty obvious. But if you haven't caught on yet, this is a homebrew setting. All the divines are homebrew. Some of the metaphysics for how the planes and stuff work are also homebrewed. Don't come in here with knowledge of Galarian and start adding folks about how we're doing it wrong. Shut the fuck up. You clearly didn't pay attention.
I love Galarian, but please don't do that.
And what else is really like super necessary to know? The players currently still very early in their adventuring lives. they're level 2s with Mythic Tier 1. Once again, for the Mythic, if you know, you know. If not, you're going to find out. And I think that's everything for kind of getting everybody caught up to like a first-time listener type deal, unless there's something anybody else can think of that really needs to be said in that regard.
It might be worth mentioning that we each started with one commoner level that also had some extra feats and stuff with it. Mostly that's just like if you're wondering about like why we have more feats than we would normally have, that's why, because we got some bonus stuff from that in addition to the normal commoner items. And
they got a couple extra feats and a kind of sort of level 0 commoner start. It was kind of like an extended level 1 is the way we handled it. There were level 1 commoners, and then their level 1 kind of, it's stacked while gaining their level 1 of their class. So like a commoner 1, class 1, and now they're commoner 1, class 2, effectively.
Yeah. Commoner didn't give another hit die, though.
It's... If it doesn't make sense to you, it's fine. The players understand it. It's not that complicated. Yeah. They essentially get a couple extra skills, and that's pretty much it. Couple extra skills, couple extra feats. That's pretty much it. But yeah, with that said, we're going to have the primer, like we mentioned before, listed before this, but let's do kind of like, both for the player's sake and to kind of help set the scene instead of just jumping right in. Who wants to kind of like do a brief recap of where the fuck are we and how did we get here?
I'll do it.
In a short frame. Go ahead.
Well, we were living in a city. It was, decent living. Learning how to be our various classes. When the the Legion of Undead swarmed the city, what would be called a mega city, besieged it, forced us onto basically arcs, and then we sailed out for probably, it was 8 months.
Yep.
And now we have arrived at a new land, and we are just now weighing anchor and getting ready to explore the shore.
Oh.
I cannot believe I totally forgot to share this. It totally slipped my mind. I have a new resource for y'all to kind of take advantage of. I'm still like in the midst of setting up some additional details with it. Eventually, I'll be able to send out invites for you all to have like limited permissions to add stuff to it. But we now have a calendar for the setting. So we can put stuff on there to reflect major events that have happened, track the current day within the year. It also has like all the month names and day names on there, as well as like the duration. Like it's a whole ass fucking calendar with like a lot of customization. If there's any fellow DMs or players that want a DM to use this, it's fucking cheap to get like full access. You can use it for free, but it's like $2.50 a month, like $2.50 USD a month for a subscription for this. It's very cool. I love it. I'm gonna start using it for like all of my live games, especially if you're a DM that likes to schedule shit. But I'm not gonna show that anymore. This isn't paid. I found it. This is really fucking cool. I love it. I wanted to talk about it very briefly and share it with the players. But y'all have access to that now. And like I said, I'll work on getting additional details set up. But this is kind of what I was working on during the week. And outside of session, I'll be totally down to answer any questions you might have about it. But yeah. So, all that said, let's hop into it. You all have landed after seeing land for the first time in 8 months. Thousands of people have well, it starts in the hundreds, but now it's scaling up into the thousands as people are desperate to get on land just for the sake of being on land. This area is, as far as you can tell, mostly scrub land. There are significantly tall and big trees, but they do not dominate the landscape. They are kind of scattered here and there, providing some shade here and there. It's approaching midday. It's like approaching like the warmest part of the day. It's currently about high 70s, maybe low 80s, which for this time of year is hot to you, because this is approaching what would be this would be like fall normally. It would be fall, kind of getting into making that transition into winter proper. This is a couple days after the winter solstice. The days are at their shortest at this time of year, but it's hot. It's not uncomfortably hot, but it's a dry heat. There is some cool ocean breezes coming up. But in the distance, you can occasionally see the peak of a mountain. Tons of flora of just like bushes and grasses and hills. Some people are taking in the sights, but most of the people seem to be more concerned about talking with one another. The lot of you get off the ship, the main group of you, and you're looking around for people you know. It takes maybe an hour or so, but before too long, you spot the familiar purple tiefling kind of with a bubble of nobody interacting with her through the crowd.
Walk up. Oh, you made it. Where's Tremak?
I go from a sense of kind of apathy. I've clearly long since gotten used to no one wanting to be near me after 8 months on a ship with everybody. But I light up a bit at the sight of familiar faces and run over to everyone.
Hairstyle gives a running hug to Liana.
Ow, my bones. I'll hug him back before answering the question, though my face falls a little bit. I don't think he made it. I don't know for sure. He might have escaped, but I have no real way of knowing. He was fighting the one who looked like they were leading the assault, but I mean, you know how powerful Tremak is, but it was like he didn't stand a chance. And he told me to run.
Well, that's terrifying, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. Let's try to
I guess.
Also,
keep that under
not
wraps.
to totally interrupt, but do not forget to do character descriptions.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've gotten used to like everybody already knowing, but
Oh, yeah. Did Tremak send me with that bag he was packing, by the way, or did that get not even brought with us when we flew out?
oh, what bag? What do you mean?
The one he was having the butler pack up full of stuff.
Oh no! You don't
remember.
know what the fate of that bag is.
Okay. I don't think we
yeah.
took it out of the house. I wasn't sure if he had grabbed it or not. But...
No, it was actually a chest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, you have the pouch he gave you with the thing inside.
Yeah.
Wherever that is on your person. But yeah, so let's do some character descriptions as you all are meeting back up. I should have said that before kind of opening the floor, but my bad.
Oops. Okay.
Once again, let's just go in Discord order to help it go faster.
Yep.
So starting at the top.
So with Tilk, Tilk is a pale, plain-looking Asimar. He has, at this point, he has a beard, light blue eyes, muddy brown hair, fit physique, about 5'5". He's rather short. Well, comparatively to, I think, the rest of the crew. But he is a
Probably.
young man, 24.
Oh, interesting. You said a young man at 24.
Yeah.
That is a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am next in line of the Discord list. So Erstyle is a tall, lean, but muscular-looking half-elf. He has brown hair and golden yellow eyes. He's probably also sporting a stubble of a beard on his face, or at least what looks to be the start of one. Compared to some other elves or other half elves, he actually has pretty short but still noticeably pointed ears. He is currently running around with his age-old, or at least according to his friends, might be age-old leather armor. And the most prominent feature for Erstyle is actually there is a scar on the right side of his face that goes down from his cheek to his neck from a childhood injury. And he's had a tendency to have a noticeable accent. Yeah, accent that most everyone else would find sounds like maybe slurred speech.
Right. Cindrah?
Liana, post-tiefling apotheosis, is mostly purple, sort of a mid violet, though toward on her limbs, moving toward her hands and her hooves, there's kind of a soft gradient into a black. And the same for about halfway down her tail, which is sort of long and sinuous and definitely very agile when someone sees it move. I believe we had talked about the darker, like the blacker skin being the same around the base of horns as well. Or at least that's what you wanted me to. Okay. Yeah, so that is that too. Horns sweep back from just above her temples. They arc backward and then like a little bit upward and together. Forming almost I don't want to say a crown-like shape. I need to just do Art of Liana at some point. As I stated before, hooves, cloven, and her eyes have black scleras and red irises. She's pretty light of build, as you would expect for a wizard, so that's usually how it goes. Although, while starting about 5'6" as a human, she's at about around 5'8" due to her new stance.
I may have forgotten to mention how tall Erstyle tall is. Erstyle is actually 5'10".
Oh, okay. Oh, right, and she has black hair that was fairly short before the voyage, but has grown a little bit past shoulder length at this point. Kind of messy.
Yeah. All right, last one on the list.
Yeah, I am playing Rhea Irvin. She is a fairly shoulder-length hair, shoulder-length black hair woman of with kind of brilliant blue eyes at this point. She is generally pretty fit. She is kind of short at only. I wrote on it in meters. So she is 165 centimeters tall, and I can't convert it into feet and inches right in my head.
She's short.
She's short.
Said 165.
About 5'5".
Yeah.
She is pretty short.
Yeah.
And currently she has her hair braided behind her back.
All right. So, It's currently about 10:30. So y'all are meeting up. For now, the floor is yours. Whatever y'all want to do.
We need to try to gather what supplies we can. If any group's low on anything, we need to try to get that. We need to figure out if the land is safe for us to dock here for an extended period of time. I feel like that's gonna come down to us and anyone else that is combat able.
Or at least knowledgeable about certain things. Like
Yeah.
anyone who has hunting skills.
They might be better off for gathering supplies in case we do have to take off from here.
I don't know how it was on the ship you were all on, but it did seem like, well, as shocked as I was still handling it better than basically everyone else I met. So I don't think a lot of combat-able people are around, at least compared to how many people there are total.
And I believe that. It's just more that right now we're safe. But I don't want people to think that they're too safe. We're in an unknown land that could be potentially hostile.
There's a certain... sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I think there's a certain safety in our, frankly, quite immense numbers, but that could also pose its own problems.
Yeah.
If the immediate area is hunted and foraged dry before everyone is able to get what they need to support themselves, people might start fighting each other.
Yeah. If we can figure out if this place is safe, we could potentially refit the ships to act as buildings if we could get them ashore. Or at least get them close enough to the shore that we could take them apart.
That sounds great.
But first we gotta figure out if we're safe to be here.
Yeah, agreed.
We could try to...
Quick.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was going to do a real quick to Zach. What was the description of the kind of flora that was in the area of our landing zone?
You're seeing a lot of like tall grasses, bushes, some kind of like small kind of in between a bush, kind of a tree type plants, as well as the occasional like larger trees that are fairly tall, but they're very scattered. Scrub brush definitely predominates the flora, but there are a wide variety of plants growing around. None that you necessarily recognize aside from, well, that is definitely grass, those are definitely trees, and those are definitely bushes. But nothing that would grow natively anywhere you've been before.
Okay.
Which isn't very many places, all things considered.
I already missed the purple trees.
I miss seeing trees in general, so this is a nice change. We could try to... There's two ways we can handle this. We can either try to organize people on our own and see if we can get people to listen to what we have to say. Or we can find leaders in communities, try to have them rally their communities together to get things done. Unfortunately, I think that we are probably the most able-bodied available. So we will probably have to move beyond the shore a bit to investigate the nearby area.
Yeah. Speaking of, did anyone else's respective mentors seem to make it?
Mine did.
Alex?
Not sure. They left before this went down.
Oh. left the city? Like they saw it coming, or just had gone
Left
home?
the city. They offered me a place, but they left before. I turned them down because I couldn't leave you all.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you.
She gives
suppose.
a 1 week smile at that.
Oh, yeah. Suppose we should do our best to try to rally people together. I don't imagine there would be very many others who would take charge.
All my fear is that the wrong people try to take charge.
Well, they definitely will try to.
Oh, yeah.
As you all are having this conversation, there seems to be a little bit of a commotion amongst the roughly 5,000 that have gathered so far. You
Only
see,
5,000.
you look to see where the commotion is starting, and closer down at the beach, there is a similarly to how you came to shore, a rowboat with people aboard. However, this rowboat is also like escorted by another two, and you can see like two handfuls, so about like somewhere between 8 to 10 of armed men on these boats, and in the midst of them, you can see a young woman along with it looks like a couple of the captains, 2 out of the 3, as their boats come to shore, and you can kind of overhear murmuring, "Is that her? I think that's her." And some people start kind of rushing to the water's edge, but as the 2 ships come ashore, some of the armed men start like pushing them back to make room. And this young woman, who is, as she is closer now, you can see she is wearing it's, all things considered, more practical than what would traditionally be worn as like a high society dress. But it is still it's not necessarily a full-on dress, but it is a rather nice blouse and kind of dress pants of a sort, with a very nice pair of knee-high leather boots, and a fine necklace. You can't see the details of it from here, but definitely very expensive. Her hair is done up in a bun. She has thick brown hair, very narrow frame. She probably looks somewhere around your age, if you had to guess, early 20s, maybe late teens, but an adult woman. She also has very, very fine feminine features, white skin, but more on the pale end of things. And more people are talking, and it's the din is becoming louder. And you can recognize there is a cleric that kind of is following up behind her, and with a thaumaturgically enhanced voice, you hear a silence! And all of the chatter kind of dies down.
Tilk push his way.
I will try to move to where I can at least see what's going on and who this is all centered around.
Oh yeah, sure. So Tilk is making a hole, as some would say, and it makes it easier for the rest of you to kind of like follow in his wake, as he kind of pushes his way through. As you get closer to the front, you can get a better look at her. She seems to have kind of striking light blue eyes. And she holds herself with a very noble high society type of grace, even despite the "I'm standing on a beach," very clearly like out of her element. But there's a confidence there. and I guess I should say overall petite frame. This is clearly somebody who is not a combatant of any kind.
No.
I have a question.
Sure.
You said they look like they are a nobility scent?
Yep.
Could I roll a knowledge nobility of what we know about the nobles in 8X?
Yeah, if you have it, go ahead. I'm going to say this is going to be a DC 10.
So I have knowledge nobility?
Wonderful.
I only have knowledge local. Have I just like flat out seen her before?
If you have knowledge local, you can roll it.
Yeah, I know that's not exactly local anymore, but
Wow.
Yeah, it's relevant to where you came from.
Nat 20.
Did you get under a 10? Oh my god.
No, I got a 10 exact. I'm just more
Holy
surprised
shit.
that I got a 10 exact.
And you mythic surged it. Holy shit.
No.
Oh no, you used your investigator thing?
Yes, I used an inspiration,
Okay.
which does not
Damn.
take away from my daily uses.
I got 25.
25 on Liana.
God, yeah, wow, I
Okay.
am.
So yeah, it takes you all a moment, but you piece together from what you're seeing to maybe things that you've heard, because you have not visibly seen this person before. At least in Liana's case, you don't think you have, but maybe you have, and you didn't really it didn't necessarily click that was her. This is fucking. I made sure I had the name ingrained in my head, and now I'm on the spot and I don't remember.
It's like you did with I think her father, and I just forgot.
Yeah. Hang on. I got it right here. I did move where the name was because I couldn't find it last time. There we go. This is Princess Valor. This is the king's one and only heir.
Is Valor her first or last name?
Her last name. None of you know what her first name is. She has always been referred to as the Princess or Princess Valor. You've not mixed in circles where that would be common knowledge. Vey, Ollie.
Thank you.
Very close.
Yes, very close. Better than every time Damiani tries to spell Zaban. Because I think it's different every time he's tried to spell it. But she seems to take a moment and somehow manages to straighten up. She kind of sweeps her gaze over the crowd. I understand we are in a predicament that is, in the history of our kingdom, unprecedented. However, the facts are we are here and we are alive by the grace of the gods. And you can hear some murmurings amongst some of the clerics that are in the group, as well as some of the lay people as well. Lines along by their grace type stuff. Unfortunately, not as many made it as we had hoped we could save. But there's no point in dwelling on what has come to pass. It has been almost a full year. We have had time to mourn. And for right now, we must focus on doing what we must for ourselves to seek our survival and eventual prosperity, despite the situation we find ourselves in.
I roll a sense motive to see, how is she holding up?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Not 12d20.
I'll do it for my own sake.
I'm going to boost that.
For my character's own sake.
Surge that shit.
One mythic surge coming right up. 16.
Oh my god, you know what? I have no idea right now. I'm more surprised.
Starting off strong.
Look,
And I got
everything's a low roll right now.
I got a nat 20 on the nobility check. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Didn't need it, but
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Peace and famine, folks. Peace and famine. So you, let me see. 8. You know what? Sure. Let me do this. Because she's actively trying to put on an air, so I'll give her a deception. Okay, well, that's that.
Oh, goddamn.
She seems a
Doing
little
a good job.
inexperienced, but she seems confident in what she is saying, and she seems to have come to terms with the situation, as far as you can tell. But she is like pretty hard to read. You can tell she has been, whether she's been training, is naturally good at it, but she knows how to talk to people, even though she's like obviously like maybe dealing with a little bit of nervousness. It's clear enough that you don't really need to roll to tell that there is like some anxiousness there, but who wouldn't be in this kind of situation?
Yeah, that seems natural.
Yeah. I am sure it is on all of your minds. What comes next? What are we going to do? This is the first land we have encountered in months of travel, which is why I have been working with the captains and what advisors I have to determine an outline of a plan. Our main focus, as of right now, is to pull together, to support each other in what ways we can, and to organize a group of volunteers, or if need be, mandate some of the young men, join those with some experience, and to clear the surrounding area to ensure that we are, at the very least, safe here at this current point in time. It is undecided if we will be remaining here or going up and down the coast in search of a better place. But for now, I think it best that we secure this area and at least spend a few days to gather our wits and determine what we believe the next step should be, whether that is to find a suitable spot and let rest our laurels and begin to build something better, or to seek a better place where we can do the same. So for now, she is going to gesture over to a middle-aged gentleman. Let me grab his name. I should have put it in the important NPC section and not the kingdom building section because I'm a dummy. For now, those who are interested in volunteering to explore the surrounding area to secure it, speak with Sir Roderick Highhand. He will be organizing those efforts for the time being. And she will gesture to a middle-aged man who is kind of standing off to the side. He's wearing body armor. It looks like a breastplate, and just kind of some like additional leathers here and there. Like he's not in full plate. He's got like a couple scars here and there. He's got salt and pepper hair, and he's got a bit of a semi-thick beard that has formed. Whether he keeps it that way or if it's just from the journey, unclear. But he definitely looks like a seasoned soldier. He does not bear any of the iconography of the cathedral or the temple or anything. So he definitely just looks like a seasoned soldier. In the meantime, for those who will not be joining the expedition, I would ask for any who are able bodied to assist in setting up tents, as well as seeing about maybe helping prepare for a dinner later this evening, and other such, well, anything that could use extra hands. And let us progress in a cooperative manner. The last thing we need is tension amongst our own in such a desperate situation. There's some murmurings of agreement, and then she'll nod, and Sir Highhand will take a step forward. Right? Those of you who want to volunteer, start lining up over here, and he'll hold his hand high above his head and move off to the side to kind of like separate crowds of people to help organize who's doing what. I am going to go out on a limb and guess y'all are going to go over to Roderick.
Yes.
I was going to hold the group first.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, yeah, by all means, go ahead. Don't let me put words in your mouth.
So I assume that
Yeah, I don't know where those words have been. Ew.
they're in my mouth, so, you know, covered in Four Loko. So we're all here to assist, right? I mean, I imagine we all do great at pitching tents, but I think we all know thank you, Erstal. I think you all know that we may be of better use elsewhere. I plan to talk to Roderick. I would very much enjoy it if my friends came and supported me in that effort, especially friends as capable as all of you.
Well, I have done my best to... Sorry.
Go on.
I have done my best to keep up on my magic in the meantime on the ship. Haven't made any real progress, but I shouldn't be out of practice at least.
I am more curious about the local area. Especially given the fact that we are in an unfamiliar zone. What may or may not be poisonous is probably better to figure out now versus later.
True. With the expedition, we could also potentially find large groves of resources that we could deem that are either safe or unsafe, and be able to mark them for the individuals here. Certainly, you're not the only one with. I mean, there's 12,000 people here. Certainly, you're not the only one with experience when it comes to determining whether or not something is toxic or not.
Would sure hope not.
Not wrong, but for my own sake of curiosity and knowledge, I'd still be joining the expedition to secure the area.
Then what about you, Rhea?
I just want to help out right now. Get them. See what we can do.
I understand if folks also want to see if they can find their loved ones.
Yeah, it might be a good. She nonsense. That might actually be just walking around, we might be able to find those we miss if they made it.
Well, volunteering for the expedition might make us more visible. Well,
true.
Like, For those of us who would still be recognized, at least.
Yeah, your situation may be weird.
Well, maybe they'll recognize you, or the rest of you. Though there is something about that that's been kind of eating me up during the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the chance to visit my father and sister after they were apprehended, since it was so soon before the evacuation. And I doubt that the bells were opened when the evacuation started. I thought about trying to go break them out on the way, but I didn't know exactly where the jails were, and didn't think I would make it in time, but maybe I should have. I don't know.
Liana, it might not be best to dwell on that. The situation, we weren't prepared for it.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, I should have been, though. I knew it was coming, at least to a degree greater than most.
but did you expect it so soon?
Well, not really, I guess.
You mustn't blame yourself. Doubt will poison your mind. Considering that you were, I mean this in the best of in the best way possible, you were isolated from us and on your own for 8 months. I want you to think of tomorrow, not yesterday. Been alone. I want you to be with us, with company, with people. You stewing in that for 8 months has probably not done you good. So I will happily talk to you about it. But I don't believe this is the time.
I suppose you're right. Sorry, I just haven't had the opportunity until now.
No,
but,
I understand.
Thanks, though. I'll do my best. I guess the expedition will be a good distraction anyway from that.
I want you to think about it when you're not alone and when you're not isolated. That's what I care about.
Oh, yeah.
But I say
Yeah, I'm really glad to see all of you again, though.
I'm happy to see that you lived. I was afraid the worst. We saw you shoot above us at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we weren't sure what your situation was. And we didn't see you on the ship, so.
Yeah, as far as I could tell, I just made it onto a different one. You probably got onto one of the ones that left before mine. I think I was on one of the last ones, actually. Thankfully, not the one that got, well, incinerated.
Yes, we witnessed that as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk with Roderick, and then take some time, see if we can find our loved ones.
Right, yeah.
And then move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
So you all move over. You can already see there's a group of some clerics as well as what looks to be a few soldiers, and even some men. Most of them seem to be like a bit older than you. Some of them are as young as you. You do also see like a couple teenagers. Have gathered. Overall, it's about a group of maybe about 100 150 people have gathered, almost entirely men. There are some women amongst them, but the majority of them do not look like people that have much in the way of combat experience. Roderick puts his hands on his hips and goes, right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to break it up into surrounding areas, kind of split you off into groups. And you're going to make sure you make it back before dark and report what you found. Those with combat experience. Let's start with you. Come see me now. So you all kind of queue up. He talks with some of the clerics and stuff. And eventually he gets to you all and sees you all are kind of like the way you're standing around one another. He seems to like piece things together for a second. You lot know each other, huh?
Correct.
Same village.
Right. What I want you to do is you're gonna follow this coastline, and I want you to cut going. Let's see.
I have a compass. East.
He has like a piece of parchment in his hand that he's kind of. It looks like he's sketched out with a piece of charcoal. A very like vague kind of eyeballed outline of this bay. Right, I want you to follow this coastline, go south and west, following the coastline, explore up further into the land, but ultimately going perpendicular with the coast.
South and west.
Yes, once you go far enough, hopefully, if my estimations are correct, by nightfall you should link up with another group. On their own patrol. Search for any hostile life, deal with it. We don't need any wild animals attacking us in the night or anything like that. If you find any signs of civilization, any peoples, proceed with caution. If you have any reason whatsoever to assume hostility from them, do not engage. Immediately report back. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir.
Crystal.
Remember, you are not.
Hold down with a notepad.
Yes.
You are not diplomats. Do not attempt any kind of political engagement. The last thing we need is for some people we don't even understand to start a fight. So just focus on dealing with any animals and reporting back any information that you deem important. Well, any information you find out, just bring it back. We'll decide what's important.
How far down the coast did you want us to turn Edenward again?
Like I said, there's another group patrolling a bit further south than where I'm having you go. If you follow the instructions, you should, before nightfall ideally, intersect with that patrol. At that point, come back.
Understood.
Okay. So we're heading south,
Right.
southwestish, meet up with another group, exterminate hostile life, and don't interact with the locals just in case we piss them off.
Yep.
Sound about right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's southwest because that's just the direction the coast goes. I thought we were like moving.
Yeah, if you scroll up in the Aldfair chat, there's kind of like that little mini map I posted of the landing site.
Yeah.
Effectively, what is happening is this is, mechanically speaking, as part of like Kingmaker, this is step 2 of founding a settlement. Should they decide to actually stay here.
Yeah.
Where you're exploring and clearing a hex. So the rightmost ship, this is the bay you all are currently in. You're kind of like at that midpoint, a little bit just above the right end of the ship. You're kind of like literally like in the middle of the coastline there. And you're going to follow that coastline south and then west when it eventually starts going westward. And you're going to kind of follow that. Exploring a hex, especially with this number of people, is going to take a day for this terrain type. Some terrain types take multiple days. This one, even though it's a coastline, it only takes a day. So is there anything you all want to do before you head out? Or are you gonna go ahead and say, fuck it, we ball?
Do I see Caius in the list of people queued up to?
He is. It looks like he's been paired off with a group of people who look like they've never seen combat before. And there's like 15 of them that are grouped up around him.
To make sure that they see combat and combat doesn't see them instead.
Yeah.
He's on babysitting
And
duty.
he does. And it's pretty easy to tell where he is because typically at any given point you can see Mirthbringer sticking out above other people. It's a big fucking axe.
Okay.
But I will break off from the group for a minute to talk to Caius.
Sure.
They got you on babysitting duty again.
I don't think it'll be too bad. They're not experienced, but they got the spirit.
Are you familiar with this land? You seem more traveled than most folks.
No. I've heard rumors about this place. Not the first time people have tried to come over here. Although I've never heard of anybody trying to start any colonies or anything like that. Mostly people going looking for lost riches and such. It's a long haul for that kind of thing, though, and truth be told, most of the rumors end in tragedy. Or no news at all.
I mean, tragedy makes a good story, and the unknown makes a good mystery.
Yeah. I'm not taking any of it with a grain of salt, but I'll consider them cautionary tales. This is a foreign land. There is no saying what we'll encounter. Aldfair had its own dangers. Who's to say this place isn't more dangerous? Or who's to say we haven't landed in the equivalent of the Dragonlands out here?
Let's hope not.
Yes. Regardless, be on your toes. There is no telling what we'll encounter.
Stay safe.
Yes, you too.
I'll head back to the group. I want to look out for any ravens.
Hell yeah, brother. Make that perception check.
Were there any ravens around on the ships while we were going?
I didn't think to
Didn't we
ask.
just kind of move in? Yeah, I forgot.
There were.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fuck with
There
my
were
bonus.
there were some that were definitely nesting on the sails and such.
Yeah. If I gave them shinies and bread, could I have made friends?
With
yeah.
with a 9, I'm going to assume I don't see
Actually,
any.
make me an animal handler.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I suck at that.
Let's see how many friends did you make?
Sorry, Brandon, I didn't mean to.
You're fine. I rolled a 9.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to see much.
Oh yeah, no, they fucking love you.
Hell yeah. So for those who are
The pale
that's
purple
nice.
lady gives us fucking shinies and crumbs.
Yes. So I have -1. My charisma modifier is -1, and I have no points in handle animal, but I rolled a natural 20, so 19 on that.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you look around, with how sunny it is, and how there aren't trees in the immediate vicinity, they're kind of at a distance away. You can't really tell if there are specifically ravens around. You do see there's a couple dots in the sky above. They're definitely birds. What kind of birds? Not sure. For all you know, could be seagulls. Because you do know you're not sure if they're literally seagulls, but you have seen kind of birds that have been flying around the coastline.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's not seagulls, those are assholes.
Yeah. It's dire seagulls. Founders.
I'll return to the group. Caius is even being cautionary, so all he has to go off is rumors of treasure and glory seekers not coming back or meeting terrible fates. But seems that this place is unknown to the vast majority of people.
Well, hopefully the numbers and level of organization will see us through, I suppose.
Let's hope.
All things considered, it's going well so far. I just hope we're not displacing anybody.
Well, we'll find out if we are. In which case, certain decisions are going to have to be made, but that's neither here nor there. And technically speaking, not our call to make.
Also true.
Yet.
Yeah. All right. I see you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Brandon said yet, not Tilk.
I was like, is Tilk angling to become king, if you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wow. Wow.
There are many paths to king.
I suppose that's true.
But I am good whenever the rest of you are. If you wish to take time to search for loved ones, we'll just have to move a little faster through the...
Yeah, you do know there are people still offloading from the ships. Like I said, there was roughly like 5,000 people that had gathered on the shore. You know, from rough estimates, there's approximately like a potential population around 12,000 people across these 3 ships.
It might be easier to search once everyone's off the ships and more or less stationary.
Fair.
But we should probably make sure we're well supplied before heading out, at least with water and a little bit of food.
I have my potato and my fish jerky, so I'm good to go.
Oh geez, fish jerky sounds so gross.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Well, you've been living off of it for 8 months.
Yeah, that's probably.
Sometimes you get fresh fish, but a lot of times it's fish jerky.
Can you make jerky out of fish? I don't even.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. It might be good. I've never had it.
It's not great. That's why you can't really buy in a store, but
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's
it
okay.
works.
You sold it right.
It's not as marketable as
No,
like beef
fair.
jerky or turkey jerky or even the rarer chicken jerky.
Yeah, I mean, if we have enough for a day of food and water, I assume we'll be fine.
Yeah. You can if you don't have any on you, you can easily have the rations for a day on hand.
Okay. I would guess if they're sending people out, they're not going to be just like, you're on your own for food.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I'm also like willing to assume you've had breakfast. Considering, like, I'm not going to say it's healthy to skip lunch or anything, but at the end of the day, you can survive on just breakfast and just dinner. I'm going to assume you've had breakfast because this is
in real life.
Like sunrise began at like 6:30 ish.
Yeah.
So and it's like 10:30 now. Well, probably closer to 11 now, but so it's safe to assume you've had breakfast, so you probably don't need to eat while you're out there unless you get fucking lost. In which case, that might be a different situation.
Oh,
But
okay. Like
it's
we're
gonna
going
be
to
hard for you to get lost.
Well, not like.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Cool. Oh, then we're probably good. Then.
Um,
Just make sure
yeah.
we're hydrated and think we'll be fine. And getting lost on like the coast is kind of hard.
Yes. I'm not really intending to call for a survival check unless shit goes down. But all right. So you all head out, and you do as you're asked. You start going down the coast. You start cutting south, and the closer you are to the shore, the kind of easier it is to traverse. Walking on the sand, not great, but there's kind of like a nice threshold between the beach and like actually like getting into the hills where there's kind of more flat with some elevation here and there that is solid ground. Well, semi-solid. There's still like sand mixing with dirt and stuff.
Yeah.
But you all begin the trek. And you know what? Who's feeling lucky?
In what sense?
A percentile roll.
Ooh, I'll do it.
Okay.
Do it.
I'm gonna say anybody but me, please.
Look, I've already been rolling pretty shit. I'm pretty sure we're now going to go the other direction.
I believe in you.
I'm also at the point in the Four Loko, like it tasted bad at first, then I got to the point where it's like, okay, I can deal with this, and now we're at the bottom.
Oh no.
Get the fuck off.
Oh, it's self-correcting flavor.
Yeah, that's a fucking 4.
Oh, that's not self-correcting.
Check
Unless you
my
want it.
handy dandy.
Else we need to roll
And
it
I'm
out.
rolling so low this entire
Alright.
section. So fucking.
You know, if that were a D20, that would have been a natural one. Or
I
below one,
know.
actually. Sorry.
Double
Technically,
check.
the 1 through 5 would be a 1.
Yeah.
Is this cool? I'm gonna roll a. Cool. So you all are traversing as you hit kind of like 12 o'clock, 12-ish, about midday. Well, a little bit after midday at this point with how the days are. It's like the hottest part of the day. It's definitely like at least 80 degrees. You can feel like a little bit of humidity is kind of building up. But it's not terrible enough that like, oh, Endure Elements would be great right now. But Tilk being in armor as well as Erstyle being in armor, it's like kind of missing Violent Maple right now.
On the bright side, mine's
It's
high
fucking
armor.
high.
What was that, Brandon?
On the bright side for me, I'm still in hide armor.
Yeah, but it's warm
Like
being in multiple layers. That said, Rhea, you're not really feeling too bothered by the heat.
Neat.
Feels kind of comfy. At least it's not like terribly noticeable. Like, yeah, it's warm, but like it's not stifling. As you all kind of travel through, you start hearing like these distant sounds over some hills. These kind of like loud bellowing sounds. It almost sounds like cows. But it's coming over a ridge of hills, so you can't see the source, but you are hearing like this. Well, my mic's not picking up great because of crisp, but you're hearing like these groaning, almost mooing sounds. It's deep and echoing.
I was gonna ask if my fire resistance helps with the heat, like my cold resistance did with the cold.
It does. Like it's the same thing as Rhea is experiencing. Like it's not stifling. You can tell it's hot, but it's not really like bothering you too much.
Oh, okay, cool. Does anyone else hear this?
I do.
Sounds like wildlife of some sort. Worth investigating.
Absolutely take a look.
Okay, so you all start climbing up the nearby hills, and when you reach the peak of these hills, they're not massive. A couple dozen feet higher than the elevation you were at. You can see there's kind of like, it's not really like a valley, but like, you know, in between a cluster of hills, you can see there is a herd of 18 aurochs that are kind of standing around, kind of just grazing on the tall grasses. So you're used to cows, but these are like bigger, they're bulkier. The bulls have huge horns compared to the cattle from back home. These look like roided out cows to you. And they're all of like different, like their hides go from like these deep browns to light sandier colors. And on occasion, some of them are black.
Oh, these ones are much bigger than I expected.
Indeed, but I mean,
They do have a couple calves with them as well that are like in the center of the herd.
they are herbivores and would have no reason to go to the beach. I don't believe we need to do anything to them.
I am making a note that they are out here because they could be a food source for people.
They
That's
are
true.
quite large, but unless they show themselves to be carnivorous, I don't believe they are an immediate threat. If they come charging through, I mean, that is one thing. But I don't believe they are a threat.
I tend to agree. Something to note for those who might be inclined to hunt them or something.
Indeed.
Certainly not my area of expertise.
Let's just remember where they are.
Yeah.
Or
Indeed.
what area they're in.
I am making a note in my notebook.
So you all just want to kind of keep moving on from here?
Oh, yeah. We'll watch
think
them for a bit, see if anyone like has them out the pasture.
Yeah, sure. How long do you want to dedicate to that? It's currently about midday, so it's about 11:45 ish, approaching 12. This time of year, you've probably got about 4.5 hours until like the sun starts setting, and then 5.5 before it's like dark. To make it clear for viewers, the plane is flat. It's not a proper planet. It's a plane.
Not too long. Like I think maybe 15 minutes. See if anyone
Unless
like
you're in the round plane society.
oh lord.
Fucking rounders.
Sorry.
Just to be clear. Just to be clear, we do not subscribe.
No, we do not endorse flat earthers.
We do not endorse flat earthers. I just want to make sure that we are clear on that.
Yeah. I say what I say because as a world building thing in this setting, the material plane is hypothetically infinite. There's not an end to it. There is not wrapping around. There's not circumnavigating the globe. It is, for all intents and purposes, flat. Wherever you are in the world, the sun rises at the same time, sets at the same time.
Oh, it's a Minecraft server.
Effectively.
I guess it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build a
But
dark
so little beyond the old world is known. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just watch them for. Like, I don't want to invest too much time in them. That way, we maintain the schedule.
Okay. So, how long?
15, 30 minutes. Is everyone all right with that, or do some people want to do longer?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So y'all hang out. You watch. I'm not going to call for a perception check. Nobody comes by. These truly seem to be wild animals. One of the bulls at one point definitely takes notice of you all and kind of watches you guys for a couple minutes before he goes back to grazing. But he definitely kind of positions himself in between you and the herd. But no outward aggression, and nobody seems to be shepherding them. You don't see any like shepherd dogs or anything like that.
Okay.
All right, that satisfies my curiosity enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
So you will start moving on. Somebody other than Ollie who's feeling lucky.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, let's get mine out of the way.
I can roll.
Oh, you want to roll?
All right.
Absolutely roll.
that's fair.
Just don't roll a 100.
Don't say that.
Just instantly dragons. Damn it.
Damn it. Hey,
Nice.
nice.
If we have to tell you what the number is, you're a loser.
Wow.
I chose violence.
Or at least haven't been on the internet as long as I would expect someone listening to it
Interesting.
actively.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, you're too young to be listening to this podcast.
We're too mature.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Cool. So you all are kind of going about your business. And you're moving along. Everything seems pretty quiet. As you're moving, you're starting to also like pick up and take notice of some of the other different animals around. And not really like animals, but some of the bugs you do notice, like birds in the sky. There are also like smaller critters moving in the underbrush. At one point, you are kind of passing a bush and you see something dark out of the bush, and it's like half hopping, half like skittering. As you see like this small little mouse thing kind of like hop skitter across the bush. It's got like big ears and a long tail and these like really strangely like long like hopping legs. You've never seen like a mouse that looks like this before, but it scurries off.
It's like a jerboa.
It is.
I was about to say,
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what it is. It's a jerboa.
I was thinking of a chinchilla.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jerboas.
but I didn't want to say the name because y'all wouldn't know what a jerboa is. You don't have a jerboa in Aldfair.
Yeah.
We
You
will
have field
soon.
mice and rats.
That does mean
I
I
have
can
a
find a
question.
picture of one now to show those who don't know what it is. Oh, sorry. go ahead.
Would I have read that in a book somewhere?
What a jerboa is? No.
But is that a feat? I read it in a book somewhere.
It should be.
Well, I mean, it's nature, man.
No, I get it. I want that to be a feat. Is my thing.
I read it in a book. Is the feat.
I could see that being like a Pathfinder 2 feat. How they go with names sometimes.
It has a drawback though. It makes some people call you insufferable.
Oh, wait, actually, I think the feat is called dubious knowledge in Pathfinder 2.
Oh, yeah.
Jerboa.
Me. Sorry, I'm but it darts off and you keep progressing. As you're kind of going about your business, you see a kind of a tawny furred ball kind of munching on some kind of fruit or vegetable hanging off of a bush. It doesn't seem to have noticed you all, or if it has, it doesn't feel threatened by you. This thing is like about the size of a small dog when you first see it. Like it's about 2 feet from ground to shoulder, maybe about 2 feet long, maybe 3 feet long. It has a fairly long tail and very mouse-like features. And as you kind of stop and quietly stand there and look at it, the more and more it actually looks like a field mouse, but way overgrown. It's fucking huge for a mouse, but it looks exactly like a field mouse, just if it was big, comparatively.
Same proportions, everything just larger.
Yeah. And as you're checking it out, who wants to give me a? Well, actually, everybody, give me a perception check to see if you notice this.
All right.
Perception check. Perception check. Oh, I should also probably open up the.
Hope it continues to rain.
Where is the investigator class?
Nat 20 for 26.
Nice.
Holy shit, dude. 2 nat 20s in a session.
From me.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Who are you and what have you done with Brandon?
Suffered a great deal today.
Oh, not 20.
Oh.
Hey!
My fucking god. All right.
At 28.
Okay. Wow. So everybody but Liana sees this or notices
Oh
this.
man.
You're hanging out at a distance, kind of watching this creature because you're out here to gather information. So you're kind of any wildlife you encounter, you kind of at least take a minute to observe it. And you're looking at this overgrown field mouse like it's fucking surreal. Like it's literally just a big field mouse.
I kind of love it.
Everybody but Liana. Liana, you're just taken by the field mouse. It's like, what the fuck? Everybody else though, you notice the most subtle of movements in a thick patch of bushes. And then you see through the gaps in the bushes something with brown fur lurking. And it's not close enough to you to feel like an immediate threat. And as you're sitting there, a couple moments tick by, and then there's just a blur of motion as whatever it is launches itself from the bushes and just hits this this dire grasshopper mouse, and just tackles it, and there's immediately loud screeching noises. Because when you have a mouse that's really big, it kind of becomes less of a squeak and becomes more of a screech when it's in desperate danger.
Like Harrison was that one time.
Yes. And the tussle kind of sends up some dirt and such. And so there's a small cloud of dirt slightly obscuring it. But after a moment, you realize whatever this thing is, it's long. It's 8 feet long. Brown fur, long, slender body, 4 legs, a kind of narrow head. And you realize this is a massive, weasel-like creature. As it eventually kills the mouse, and then it kind of postures over the body and turns its head and looks at you with big black eyes. And once it's still, you can see this is a large weasel. This is a dire weasel, as some would call it.
The most weasel rather than the least weasel.
Those believe this to be a potential threat to the to the shore. Say I. I.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean,
if you're asking whether we should fight it, I mean, it's probably not gonna like go attack a group of
it
people.
is a predator, but it is not trying to actively attack us.
My fear is it might get a kid.
how far away are we from the camp?
From the camp,
2 hours away.
you're a couple hours now. I'm gonna say at this point in time, it is probably around 13:30. So yeah, you're about 3-ish hours from camp.
And does it look cautious towards us?
It definitely doesn't know what to make of you. But it's also kind of in a defensive posture. The hairs on its back are still on end. Like, you don't need to make a handle animal roll to like understand this. It's pretty standard for wild animals, especially predators. It's defensive over its kill right now. But it's also like kind of curious, like, what the fuck are you? Because it does not recognize you as predator or prey, and it doesn't know what to do about that.
Just kind of sit down. See if it like chills out a bit.
Okay, so you sit down. It doesn't like immediately do anything in response. It is like watching you and like standing over its kill still, fresh blood kind of dripping from its fuzzy maw.
If anybody listening doesn't know exactly what weasels look like, and you've only seen like cartoons of them or anything where they're drawn all scrunkily, you gotta look it up and then imagine
Yeah,
what
just Google dire weasel. You'll see pretty accurate representations of what this thing looks like.
Oh, it's a
I'm
Wolverine.
sitting here just taking notes.
I guess I kind of missed.
Weasel.
It's like
Oh,
a ferret,
man.
but less noodly.
Yeah, but still very cute. Oh wow, one of the first things I got was like a Forgotten Realms giant weasel with a guy, like a knight riding on it.
Yeah.
And the realist looks to everyone and says, well, if it's a wild animal, we might still fear civilization and fire and whatnot. We should probably just be wary that these creatures around here might not be used to us around here.
For now, it is satisfied with its food, and I don't think we need to trouble it.
Indeed.
All right, so do you all want to move on?
The consensus is that we move on.
Yeah, I think if we were to try to destroy every predator we come across, we might just do damage to the environment rather than making ourselves more safe.
Cool. All right. So you all kind of like skirt around, eventually make your way away, and you get a good distance away before you finally feel like you can kind of like turn your back on it and carry on. Yeah, it doesn't follow you. It seems like once you get far enough away, it starts chowing down on its food. And who wants to make the last roll between Cindrah and Brandon?
Brandon.
I was voluntold.
Yeah.
All right. I said not to roll 100. I gotcha.
Yeah, buddy.
Here comes the 100, boy.
93. Damn close.
Wow, that was really close.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Fuck. Okay. You're. I mean, okay.
Giant weasel, help us.
Let me get shit. Let me get perception checks.
Oh.
That never means anything bad, right?
Yeah.
Never.
I
Nat
rolled
20
a nat
on
20.
Earth style for a 31.
31 overall perception for Urstyle.
20, 24 for Tilk. Damn. Nothing sub 20.
I got a 20 that some would consider to be natural.
Had a mouthful of drink. I couldn't join you in it.
Well,
Oh.
yes. Yeah.
I hope that's not the number of things we're fighting.
I think it might
Yeah.
be.
All right, so 24, 31, 20. Okay.
What a 5-sided die looks like.
You all are traversing along the coast. It's getting pretty late in the day. You're kind of nearing the edge of the hex effectively for the coastline. So if you want to look at the map to get an idea of where you are, you're still like on the coastline but near the edge of the hex. So you can pretty easily figure out where you're at least as players.
Okay, scroll to that.
The sun's getting low in the sky. The air has like cooled down significantly. Now it's like a fairly like crisp low 70s, maybe high 60s. It's still kind of humid. You can because humans have this unique ability. You can smell rain on the air. You don't know how soon, but there is rain coming eventually. It's about 14:30, and you all are cresting a hill and look out, and you can see there is a group of what looks to be people, humanoid. They have a tent. They are wearing robes? No, not robes. You're not really sure what kind of clothing that is. It's not the usual types of like tunics or blouses and stuff like that. It does seem to be some kind of cloth that's kind of been wrapped around the body, tied together with sashes of fabric. Not fancy though, torn up, stained, in rough shape. Most of the people aren't even wearing shirts at all, and are only wearing pants. It appears to be 3 men and a woman. At a distance, you think human. You're not seeing identifying marks of any of the other ancestries. And they seem to be taking advantage of the seawater. They have a small fire going where they are boiling water. And it looks like they're using some of the water to clean clothes and other stuff. And they seem to be also cooking something as well.
I thought at first that might have been the other patrol sent out, but I don't think I saw anyone dressed like that before.
No,
And then again, there were a lot of people.
no, that's not any of ours.
We're in rough shape. We don't look like that right now, I think.
Yeah, I should note their tent also looks fairly rough. It's whole, but it's stained. It's been exposed to the elements for a while.
At the same time, if they were people who already live here, I assume they would look, not look like someone who had been lost here for a long time.
Probably.
It could be one of the survivors from the other 2 ships, one that just disappeared and the other that was attacked by the serpent. Or,
maybe.
let's say it was a serpent.
Did we see that happen, by the way? Like, was that close enough for any
See
of us?
what? I'm sorry.
The one ship that got attacked by like a sea monster?
No, none of you happened to see it. You kind of got on deck after like the commotion started, so you kind of saw the last remains of it go underneath, but you did not see the creature itself.
Oh, okay.
There were not lifeboats though. You know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it wasn't hungry enough for seconds.
First, I was
yeah.
taking notes.
Either way, I don't think we want to interact.
That's definitely not part of the mission parameters, according to the Nightman.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how lawful are you?
I marked as chaotic good.
So am I.
Should maybe we should report them before actually going interact and see, or should we go and see if they are actually survivors? Or
I mean, we don't recognize them. It's not saying much.
Well, if they do
plenty of people I don't recognize from the city.
Are you all attempting to hide?
I am.
Yeah, I assumed we were
You all are
behind the trees or something.
seeing them and chatting. So why don't we go ahead and do some stealth checks to while you're having this conversation while keeping them in sight to see how well you stay out of sight.
Good luck.
I will boost that roll. My second one of the day. Neat. 13.
Ollie, offhand, do you know of a penalty to perception when not actively looking?
No, it's just a regular perception check at that point.
Okay.
Unless you want to have
That's fine.
modifiers for distance.
That's why I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So that's a. So Brandon, you got a 13. That's 18. That's a 14. Is anybody else going to boost with their surge?
I will not.
Is that surging only?
E.
Okay. Try again though, because it did not roll.
Yeah, when you start the slash command, you have to like hit enter before you actually type all the dice.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, that guy's oblivious. That's probably the one cooking.
Very busy. Oh wow, that's the same result.
That man's hungry.
Excusez-moi.
For the
Man
listeners
is
at
also
home,
watching food cook.
that's 2 nat ones in a row.
Hungry.
That's a 3.
Currently cleaning clothes, I guess. And yeah, just oblivious. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Five.
Yeah. They don't know you're there. So yeah, go ahead, carry on.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't use a mythic surge on that.
I'm glad I did.
5, 5, 7, 12. Holy shit.
Yeah, they are in their own little world, I guess.
That's fine. I mean,
I guess as characters, we don't know how big of the difference between the roles is, but as players, that's really funny.
Yeah, they haven't noticed us. We can stage whisper. They haven't noticed us. We can have multiple things to report. We have a herd of oxen. We have potential additional castaways. They don't look like locals.
We don't know what anyone from here looks like, though. Oh, you mean just the condition of their stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't look like a permanent settlement. So I assume they're either castaways or exiles, if there is a permanent settlement around here.
Or they could just be, on the move constantly.
Imagine getting exiled to somewhere that's an 8-month voyage away.
I mean, they could be exiles of the people that live near here.
Australia.
Oh, that's fair.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
What Australia?
Or in Fantasy Australia. We're just in a class. Didn't even know.
If we
one
flip
of you nat 20 your perception?
I did.
Okay. So as you're watching them, you notice as they're like moving around, totally oblivious. there's a couple instances where they kind of move around. They on occasion say something to one another. They're not very chatty. You can't, from this distance, you can't really hear what they're saying or hear the voices at all, but you can tell the way their lips are moving, they're talking. You also notice, with your perception specifically, when they do kind of like turn around and stuff at this distance, it's hard, but your elven blood kind of gives you a little bit of an advantage. And you can see they're human for sure. At least you think so. They don't look like any humans you've seen before, though. It is typically humans, at least from where you're from, have more defined features, not as elegant as elves do, but typically definitive cheekbones, decently strong jawlines, but at the same time, not as brutish features as orcs. Humans, in your experience, exist kind of between elves and orcs, or elves and dwarves in some circumstances. These humans are not like that at all. They have rounder faces and dark almond-shaped eyes.
Makes note in his notepad.
You also notice what could be a sheathed weapon resting in the sand at the feet of one of them. You can't get a good look of it, but you think you spot a hilt sticking up and maybe the tip of a scabbard. You're not sure, but you think you spot it. What could be identified as a weapon.
Interesting. So Erstyle will kind of make a couple more notes on his notepad, and he'll just kind of like stage whisper. There is some strangeness to these people, but part of our mission was to also report hostile people, or at least locals to the region. I believe these to be locals, and we should probably have someone run back to camp to let them know. Or 2 people run back to camp. That might be safer.
We are pretty far away from the camp right now, right?
I mean,
Roughly 3 hours.
we should
We're
make.
about at the time we were supposed to be chatting around anyway, aren't we?
Yeah.
You're closer to, at this point, you are more like 5.5-ish hours from camp now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We're also yeah.
Yeah, sunset is
still
soon. You're nearing the end of your patrol.
Yeah, because we're supposed to meet up with a patrol at the end once we reach sunset. So they should be somewhere in this area.
Yeah.
Or not too far off. But definitely do not want to necessarily engage them or cause them to be concerned of our presence. They are armed.
Good to know. I believe it is time for us to
Hurry away.
put some distance.
Do we want to remain in the immediate area in hopes that the other patrol shows up, or just head back now?
We do want to try to link up with them still, but the direction that this should be approaching from is the south, so maybe we can move around this encampment, grab them, that way they don't run into them, and then make our way back.
Yeah, you don't need to necessarily go around this encampment because they're literally on the beach. So you can kind of like just start cutting south and just make sure you kind of keep hills between you and the encampment. You'll be fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
They're totally oblivious. So you can literally just melt back inland and be fine.
Okay, I say we do that then.
Sounds good.
Cool. So the sun has already begun to set. It's like 1600 when you encounter the other group. Uh, they actually let me. Uh, Cindrah, you're the one who hasn't made the roll. Why don't you make a roll to see how this other group is doing?
Okay. Percentile roll or something?
Yeah. Let's see what
They're
they
doing
encountered.
they're doing a 70 out of 100.
Let's see.
For better or
Let's
worse.
see. There's 71. There's 70 on here. Am I blind?
Should be right next to
Not make a
71.
70? Did you not make a 70?
There's 61 to 65. Oh, there it is. Jesus fucking Christ, I'm blind. And, have an experience over here. Look past it at least 5 times. Don't worry about it. So you run into this other group. They seem to be doing okay. They seem like a little like, what the fuck is this place? But they link up with you, and they you all take a couple minutes as you like start walking back to share your experiences. They didn't encounter much. They apparently also ran into a dire weasel. And one of them is especially like, if the weasels are this big, what about the other animals?
It means good eats for like the cows.
So
Oh, yeah.
we did see a small jumping mouse. That seemed normal mouse size. So there's that.
We also saw some cattle things, but
Oh, we didn't see any cows.
they weren't cows, but they definitely were something that looked similar.
They were
big cows.
They were
Beasts
big.
of burden at the very least.
They were very big.
Like take a bull size, and that's the regular cow, and then take a bull and make it bigger.
By the divines.
Good eats.
We did good eats. I have the notes of where we could find them still. Hopefully.
All right, that's good. Anything else?
We encountered what looks to be a group of locals.
Essentially.
Luckily, none of them knew we were there because they were so busy trying to set up camp for lunch. So we just kind of went around their camp, and they were on the beach and back in this direction.
All right, we should.
4 of them.
We should hurry then.
Yep.
They might be scouts or something. So you all hurry back. By the time you get back, it's like well into the night. Well, actually, you know what? Hey, fuck! It's going to be a few hours for you to get back. So let's do one more roll. Leave it up to anybody who's feeling froggy.
Froggy.
Okay.
Thank you, Ollie.
Oh.
54.
54.
Not awful.
We're going mid now. We're going mid.
Things are chill. You make it back, no problems. It's a quiet trip back. Although the area is not like suddenly quiet and still. There are the chirp of insects, and other things like moving in the brush and such, but nothing hassles you, and you make it back to Sir Roderick as like you can kind of see other groups like trickling in. There are some that are already back. It's your mentor, Brandon. Why don't you roll for Caius? See how he's doing.
This is where I rolled the 100. 5.
Oh no, you're in the opposite direction.
Here's my 5.
What is that with the cows?
I should really restructure this just to be in numerical order. Okay. Yep. Okay. Caius is back. Him and his group seem fine. but you immediately make it over to Sir Roderick, or Sir Highhand, I should say. Like, you made it back. Well, what's the report?
We found. Okay, the most important thing is we did find some locals on the beach. Luckily, we were not spotted as they were distracted by making their own camp and food. We did find what looked to be very big cows, so if we need meat, we could probably work with that. But bigger than normal cows, probably going to be a bit of a hard time to work with. Some predatory wildlife, like larger size weasels, but probably not much else to worry about at this time.
All right, then.
Bigger might.
He turns. Yes, you're in charge until I come back. Watch for anybody else coming back. You lot, come with me. So he'll gesture to you all, and he will lead you all into what is now the beginnings. They've actually accomplished a lot during the day, despite the heat. There is a kind of a tent city of a sorts coming together. They kind of got like a bunch of like pavilion tents, like poles with tarps and stuff overhead. Well, instead of tarps, it's cloth. And there are people kind of existing, still helping set stuff up. There is the smell of like cooking fish going on. There's some fires going on. And you're kind of led through to a proper tent that is fucking massive. This is not the kind of tent you would take when traveling and living on the road. And it's guarded on the outside. But Sir Highhand is given permission to enter, and you all follow him in. And you see there is a sort of table that's been set up. There's like a rudimentary map that is like beginning to be drawn, and there are a couple other people in the room, but the princess is there and she's looking over the map, and there's some quiet discussion going on. And Highhand kind of stands by until she finally acknowledges him and gestures you all forward. He goes, Your Highness, these lot claim to have spotted some locals. Go on, tell her what you told me. And she will look at you all expectantly.
Hello, Your Grace.
Yes. Flips through my notebook quick. Yes. We were about this far from camp. Right here, I believe it would be over on this part of the map of the shoreline. We encountered 4 human-looking people. Not entirely sure. We didn't get close enough to actually get confirmation. Did not interact with them.
Looking? What do you mean?
Some sort of camp.
Is there something that stuck out about them?
They're definitely not any humans from Aldfair.
Rounder heads, almond-shaped eyes?
Yes, their features were still humanoid, but definitely not from this country of Aldfair.
She exchanged looks with some of the other what look like to be nobles. You notice a cleric, but she kind of has like a ornamental thing covering her eyes. She looks across these nobles, and they all kind of shrug or shake their heads. Right then, that is curious. We'll need to progress with caution then. You said they were camping out?
It looked like they had set up camp and were making food. At the very least, one of them appeared to be armed.
They didn't appear to be in the best condition, so
Did they look to be scouts or anything like that? Did they appear to have any kind of official capacity?
They were washing clothes.
I
So-
see.
Probably just living, to be honest.
Could just be
Potentially
off
traveling at the
unit.
time, but
Yeah.
We travelers.
we don't know if they travel all the time or not.
All right. Well, she will pause and think for a moment. I'm double checking something because this is going to impact how she chooses to go about things.
Mhm.
Right. I think we want to be sure. How confident are you all in your abilities to track?
I believe we have some capabilities of doing that.
Look out of character who's got survival proficiency or survival points side.
Style.
Okay. Oh wait, I am actually trained in it. I have one.
I
Her style
am
has a
not.
point in it.
Yeah.
Her style at least has a point in it.
Yeah. Oh, where is anyone like? I assume just because we know each other, we would probably know. Is anyone like really good at it? I don't actually remember.
No, none of us are that inclined as far as I understand it.
Yeah. You don't have any rangers, no druids.
Yeah.
Trained in what?
Survival.
Survival.
Oh,
Well, like
Rhea is not
specialization
trained now. No.
She will. She'll look at the map. Well,
Is that really any of our area of expertise?
I will say this. I am under the impression, despite the odds, you bunch are a capable bunch. Considering she points to Liana, I recognize you. Hard to miss Tremark having an apprentice,
I suppose that's
even
fair.
if it's in passing.
I don't suppose he is. No, not Pazzy.
I've not heard any word about his fate.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make any assumptions. Not yet.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened at the end exactly, but spell he had cast on me did end rather abruptly.
But if Tremark took you into his service and this lot is with you, then I take it to mean this is a lot you showed up in the city with.
Yes.
And I have heard murmurings, as well as some individuals who recognize you lot. She kind of glances to the blind cleric, who simply smiles. Tilk, you've seen that woman around. She has like long, straight brown hair. It kind of is like waist length. Wearing typical cleric vestments and such, but you know she is not a classically trained cleric. She is what some would call an oracle.
Ooh.
Nice.
Do I know her name?
You do not. You've seen her around. You've heard that she's allegedly an oracle. But her name has managed to escape you. Unless you want to make a roll of some kind. I would say.
Knowledge.
I would qualify religion instead because she's not really a noble. She's a member of a religious organization.
I'll do religion.
Either that or knowledge local.
We're gonna do knowledge religion. The night's about to end. I'll boost it.
Sure.
17.
Nice.
Got a good surge roll.
17. Okay. You would understand that she, from the rumors you've heard, she came from a very religious household, but of common people. And so she was aptly named Seraphina, named after a popular angel to name your child after in many religious households. But no last name, and no name of what village she came from that you've heard. You've only heard her first name.
Real quick.
Yep.
Do I see my aunt or uncle or potentially even a cousin?
You've not seen hide nor hair of them as of yet.
Well, I was just like
nobody currently in this tent, anyways.
Okay, that's what I was trying to deem.
Yeah. These definitely seem probably more than just nobles. These are probably nobles with connections or experience of some kind, if you had to guess.
These are movers and shapers.
I will give you that from some noble background. You would be able to pick up on that. These are more than just people who happen to have money.
Nobles who are actually competent and not just rich.
Oh, let's hope.
Hard to say right now.
My God, let's hope.
Nobles who are at least thought to be bad.
But she will nod. As I'm sure you can understand, we are rather thin on combat able, let alone competent. Although, considering your mentors and such, I have some faith in having you all deal with this matter. It is my order, unless you are uncomfortable with the idea, for you all to track down this group, find out if they are part of some local population or what exactly their situation is. And I will leave it in your hands to determine if they are a threat or not. If they are potentially hostile to our people or whatever group they come from, potentially hostile, dispatch them and return swiftly. Otherwise, if they seem friendly, see about returning with them.
Okay. Hairstyle makes notes in his notepad. Ascertain his position. Friendly. Turn. Not friendly. Kill.
Understood, Your Grace.
Right. Rest tonight. You will want to head out at dawn. The days are short, so I don't want to risk having you out at night longer than you have to in this unknown land.
Understood.
And then she'll nod, and Sir High Hand will escort you all out. And you all are free to do whatever you want.
Oh, that's a good question.
That said, for those that care on the kingdom building standpoint, the hex has been explored. It can be claimed. A build point has not been dedicated to claiming it yet, because currently it is undecided if the people are going to stay here. because obviously this is an explored hex surrounded by many unexplored hexes. And a day's worth of exploration is not enough to necessarily decide if we're going to stay put or not, especially with the idea of people being nearby. So, something to keep in mind.
Interesting.
Okay.
But otherwise, you're free to do as you wish for the night.
Well, even with the lower visibility, it might be a better time to look for anyone we know.
True.
Yeah.
Rhea is certainly going to try and look for people she knows.
Tilk will actually
Hairstyle.
look for his extended family.
Okay. I forgot that I meant to do those rolls before the session.
Let's
So
do
before we're
them
gonna-
now.
We should also
Yeah.
probably figure out where we're sleeping tonight, too. I don't know if they have a place set aside for us or not.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Rhea. With the familytrauma.jpg. So I'm going to roll dice. I'm not going to explain what things mean. So you're free to interpret how you want.
I'm just gonna assume that everything is the rope I hang the character with.
Yep.
Any number happens.
Right. So yeah, let's yep. Let me make a note.
Wow.
Oh, that's under the wrong character. I'm very good at this. Y'all are free to chat amongst yourselves while I'm doing this.
So
just so we're not sitting on dead air.
were those doppelgangers? I think those might have been doppelgangers. I'm not entirely sure. This is Brandon
The
talking.
people who said?
Oh, this is Brendan talking. Okay, so this is out of character talk.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say with, like, a description and not actually seeing what they look like, I suppose. Although I suppose even, like, if there are doppelgangers, they probably would remain in some form of regular people disguises all the time.
Yeah. I could be wrong. They could just be the people that look a little odd, and I could just be an asshole.
Is it rude to ask someone if they're a doppelganger?
It could be, or you know, yeah, you could be right. You could just be very rude, assuming that just because someone looks different, they're a doppelganger and therefore not human.
Yeah, that'd be messed up.
Those are some high rolls. Oh no.
That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It could be a good thing.
Dice mean dice things.
No dice of dice. We just see what happens, and we're not sure what's going on.
The life
Dice
of
are
the
dice.
wife is ended by the knife.
So you think they're changelings, huh?
I do.
Mm-hmm. Curious. Any reason why?
Brandon thinks they're doppelgangers or changelings. It's based on other descriptions.
Doppelgangers.
Based on other descriptions in popular media. And potentially like back end knowledge that I can't fully access. from when I was running Pathfinder, but that's, like I said, I can't fully access it. It's a faded poster on a wall in my mind palace.
Fair.
But no, I hope that like some people's families are here other than potentially my extended family, because that's just gonna feel bad.
Okay. Yeah, it's really hard to say about your main family, because they did not. Their estate was not in the city.
No.
Oh, was your extended family like people of the church when you were sent out?
Milk situation's complicated.
Ah.
He has not talked about it much. Has not made efforts to talk about it much. As far as he's concerned, he is a brother of the church.
Fair.
That being the truth of the matter,
True holy man.
That being the truth of the matter or not is not something that he discusses. He did not have family in Violet Maple. That much everyone can be certain of.
Holy shit. Sorry, ignore me.
Liana's still trying to get over like having abandoned the only known family that had survived.
Oh. Hairstyle is also very sad in that he never really took a moment to go find his brother.
Yeah, despite the fact that you were with an investigator the entire time.
I apparently got hijacked into dealing with nobles and stolen jewelry and shit.
Like a number of us have like had mentors that are like be here, be square. Yours was the one that you could fucking let him sleep off a stupor.
Although I'm gonna sit here and tell you right now, he probably doesn't even get affected by alcohol.
Yeah, it's whatever the fuck he fucking brewed up in his basement.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Okay.
One more.
Oh my god, there's a 98 in there. Oh.
Don't worry about it.
Super liquor.
Well, okay, so if he's a true, like, let's say high-level investigator, yeah, he gains immunity at some point. So poison and alcohol don't do anything for the man.
No one's immune to the power of Four Loko.
It's just fucking, it's a potion that just makes you drunk, rather than...
You know what? I actually wouldn't put it past him. From how I interacted with my mentor, yeah, that sounds about right, actually. That 100% sounds right.
I've tested every poison known to man, and none of them can get me drunk like I could in my youth. It's a damn shame. You ever squeeze the venom out of an on-keg? I have. Do you know what I thought it would do for me? I thought it'd fuck me up for days. Do you know what it did? Nothing.
You know what? That actually sounds like a rant he probably would have done.
And the amount of crazy rants that I come up with in my head that have no connection to literally anything that I'm doing, I should write them down and sell them. A book of random rants for your players.
Yeah, perfect.
Or NPCs.
I'd buy that.
Players.
It'd be fun to have, regardless.
Okay. So who wants to go first in terms of searching for family?
I'll go from the top of the list. Why not?
All right. Toke.
Yeah, sure.
You go looking. You know, it's a stretch. You're not sure what your mainline family would have done. You knew there was an estate within 8X. You would assume your mainline family, when shit started going south, would have gone there, but it's hard to say whether they would have gotten there before shit went down, especially considering their own situation.
Yeah.
But but you go looking for the Sloven family crest. Why don't you actually describe what the family crest looks like? It's your family. I don't want to dictate.
The family crest. This is all, by the way, off the cuff. The family crest is a kite shield with a pair of angelic like bird wings folded downwards to frame the shield as well, with a sword pointed downwards in the center. It is silvers and golds and pastel blue.
Okay. So you go looking. There is a section of this like tent city that has popped up that looks similar to the princess's tent, but not necessarily as large. But similar in style and size. And you do find a white tent where there is the familiar banner bearing the Sloven crest hanging outside the entrance of this tent. Unlike the princess's tent, there are no guards outside. But it's sitting there quietly with the din of thousands of people, working on like dinner and such are going on around.
Tilk will approach the tent.
Hello? Are you just gonna? Are you gonna stand outside the flaps, or like opening and poking your head in? How are you going about
I'm
this?
gonna stand outside the flaps and give a hello.
There's a moment, and
Did
then
we split up this, or are we together?
Up to you guys.
Tilk wouldn't have stopped anyone from following him if they wanted to follow.
Makes sense. I mean, I'm fine with together. I just want to know for sure.
It's up to you guys. Are you with him or not?
Hairstyle would have gone looking for his family on his own, so I am not with the group.
Okay, let's assume you've all split up to go look for family.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
So Tilk, you're on your own. After a moment, you see a woman poke her head through. Similar to you, brown hair, but hers is long, lustrous, and kind of curls at the end. And she has fine but kind of recognizable features. Similarly, bluish eyes, but she kind of lacks the sort of striking nature of Aasimar blood. Very much human, but you can almost recognize your mother's facial structure in her face. And it takes you a moment. The last time you've seen her has been, you were a child. You were both children. Because she's around the same age, and like you're both kind of gears turning as you're looking at each other. And you recognize this is your cousin, Isadora. And you can see the gears turning in her own head. She goes, "By the gods, Tilk, is that you?"
It is. Isadora, how are you?
Oh, cousin! And she will like come out and like wrap her arms around you and hold you tight.
I will hug her back.
I thought all this, and you were the last of people I was expecting to see. How are you? Well, current circumstances aside, how are you?
I'm fine. Is aunt and uncle with you? Mother, father?
No, I've not. I've not seen your parents. But Aldrich is here. Aldrich! She'll pull you into the tent as she calls out. Aldrich is her older brother, so also your cousin. And going inside the tent, you can see he's kind of rummaging through a trunk. And he looks up to see. He goes, "Wow, wow, ugh. And now." Well, I guess we are all adults now. It's been ages.
It's been ages. Is Aldrich built kind of similar to Tilk, where he's kind of like bigger, broader, or?
Yeah, he's a little bit broader, but he's also like slender, so he's kind of got wider shoulders, but he's not been trained in fighting whatsoever. As far as you can tell, he's not got the bulk and muscle that you do.
He's got the family bulk.
He definitely looks more like your uncle.
Gotcha.
He's got the more square jawline that your uncle had, and he's got some deep brown eyes, but the brown hair that seems to run through the family, and his hair is it would be similar to yours if it wasn't for the fact that he clearly meticulously combs it back and keeps it nice, straight, and clean. And he has some stubble on his jawline.
By the gods, you can grow hair on your face.
Yes, well, it takes a long time. And the conditions on the ship weren't really worth risking a nick. So
I guess that's fair. I apologize I wasn't able to see you all sooner. I was in the city for a little bit, but I was...
Don't worry about it.
Enlisted, so to speak.
I can imagine. I mean, you've been with the... I mean, we heard you were with the church, but that was ages ago.
Well, the church came, and they were, as the seventh son, as a tithe had to be given. And, I think it would have been my calling either way. So, better to have for it to happen at a young age.
Right. But still, you're here now. That's what's important.
Indeed.
I take it you haven't seen our parents around.
I haven't.
We haven't been able to find anybody else from the family. Well,
when we were young, we did say it'd be the three of us against the world. I didn't think we'd mean it literally.
Yes, well, this is quite the mess. He kind of pats his hands on his thighs. We didn't get to take much when we fled. A few things, necessities, some gold, some platinum. Obviously, you're free to stay with us and stick with us. Whatever you need. Your family, after all. But well, I don't know. I don't know if the politicking is going to continue after everything that's happened or what. But the family's been on a bit of a back foot in the last, couple years.
I can assure you there's still some politicking going around. I've volunteered to help in the exploratory effort. Saw some things out there. And I had to give a report to... I believe she's still the princess. I believe that is kind of foggy at the moment, but she was surrounded by multiple advisors, including, based in my time at the church, the cathedral, an oracle, Seraphina.
Yes. There's a lot going on in the rumor mill amongst the elite. Word is the princess is refusing the title of queen for the time being. some have been trying to push her to take on the title of at least Queen Regent, but she is determined not to acknowledge the likely possibility that her father is dead quite yet. She's putting on a good face, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's struggling like everybody else.
I was afraid of that.
Additionally, there is a discussion of Lady Seraphina of potentially taking the mantle of High Priestess with the absence of the High Priest. But similarly, waiting to take the title until we know what exactly is happening next.
Oh, were you in the crowd when she addressed roughly 5,000 people?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Isidore wasn't quite yet. She was, making sure we could bring some stuff ashore. But I've relayed to her. I don't know. What's your take on all of this? I'm not eager to get on a boat again, but at the same time, I don't want to end up having to go on the run again. So I'm not eager to set down stakes if we're not going to be staying put.
I'll put it bluntly, cousin. We are currently in a very delicate situation, not only politically but also every way. Resources are likely going to become scarce here soon. So efforts are going to be made to probably gather what we can while we're here. There's the potential that there are locals here that inhabit this area before we got here. That's only rumors, however. It doesn't do us any good to really think about it, but if we do run into anyone, we're either working on contested land, in which case whatever stakes we put down are going to be contested by a foreign adversary, in which case we either fight them with the masses that we have versus a trained army, or we pull up our stakes and we leave. On top of that, many folks here are going to try to find family members. Some will find them, most will not. When they find them, that is going to heavily damage everyone's morale and capability to function. Even for what little can be done for those that are doing what they can here, we face several issues. And there is, and I would not wish to be Her Grace at the moment, as she's going to face a crisis of many sorts. Crisis of people's morale, of a food crisis. It's not looking well. I do not envy her position. But
true enough. Word is there is a few months worth of supply in storage for food. Isidore pipes up. Yes, there's a between the lot of us and the others who are spreading rumors. If we do choose to move, there's a notable likelihood that the entire population will not pull up stakes. There is many of the people who came are, common folk. And they're not going to some of them aren't going to stomach being on the move again. Almost certainly some are going to choose to stay put regardless of the situation.
which I assumed. But so that means we have to look at a different question then. If we do have to pull up stakes, do we stand and die together if the situation calls for it? Or do those who are available and able and willing to leave? We let.
So I'm not going to fight over some hill I barely even know, to be honest, Tilk. If the queen, if the princess chooses to leave, I'm going with her. She is not her father, but her father was a good man, a sensible man, and an even better king. If she has a modicum of the knowledge and wisdom he does, I trust her decision if she chooses to leave.
That is fair. Ultimately, I am. Though my last name may be Sloven. You are given to the church. You don't really get to keep a title. But at this point in time, most titles and names don't mean much, with the exception of those that have the princess's ear.
Cousin, I'd be honest, if you wanted to separate somewhat, I don't think anybody would bat an eye. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you're still family. You're still of noble birth. If you want to resume your place as a scion of the noble house, then by all means. I don't think anybody could stop you, or would necessarily.
I feel as if my name is better served assisting those in the church.
I think what Aldrich is trying to say, cousin, is this is a fresh start. As unfortunate the circumstances are, this it doesn't necessarily have to be all bad. Regardless if you want to have a title or not, you're still family. You can stay here with us.
And I appreciate that.
You're always welcome at our table, Tilk.
Man, I want to make so many sense motive checks, but Tilk is not politically savvy, so he won't think twice about it. Their family, he's not going to think about it.
Fair.
I absolutely will. If you'll have me, of course. If there's anything that the two of you need help with, please let me know. You tit for tat. You
of course.
give me a bed. I'll see what aid I can render.
But I mean, there's nothing at the moment, but of course, I mean, we're family. Anything we need of one another, I mean, we can count on one another. But it sounds like food will be ready soon, so why don't you sit tight with us and we can have dinner together.
Sounds good. We can catch up on the, 16, 17 years?
Yes, it's a lot has happened. So let's go ahead, jump down next on the list.
I will use the restroom. I will return.
Earthstyle.
Hello.
You go searching. You keep in mind kind of how the ideology to how your father, your mother, your siblings would go about doing things, where you would expect them to be, and you search and you search. You occasionally ask people if they've seen anybody matching that description. Sometimes you get a description kind of close, you would go, and then it wouldn't be the person. And after a while, it feels like you're not going to find anybody from your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a while. It's a little it's a bit depressing. I'm not going to tell you how your character is going to feel about it, but there is inevitably that part of like kind of hopelessness.
Well, yeah, no, Erstyle is making notes of everything as he's going through, including how he feels every time he has not come across his family members. And
Yeah.
it's just getting sadder and sadder.
Yeah. Liana,
Yes.
you go looking.
If
It's it's a curious situation because you're not even sure where to start. There are so many people here, and
yeah,
considering you were
I could do it.
surprised to find out what couple family members you were aware of were, well, arrested for crime.
Yeah.
It's like, where would some has-been criminals be hiding out or be mingling amongst people? And you're not sure. Totally foreign to you. But you go looking, and at the very least, well, food is being prepared, so perhaps they are lingering near food. So you go searching, and you eventually see what you think is a familiar back of a head. And as you approach, you recognize, let me double check the name because you have several sisters.
Yeah.
You
At least I did it. I don't know
recognize
if we still do or not.
a worse for wear, scarred, but perhaps even somewhat outwardly jaded compared to the usual happy Thera, who is kind of lingering, watching food being prepared from the outskirts of a gathering of people.
Is there the one who was arrested?
Yes, she is your oldest sister.
Okay. Kind of get a little closer, but not like I'm conscious of the fact that I do not look familiar right now. So I'm not gonna like run right up. But, my voice sounds the same though, so maybe we can support that. Sarah?
She kind of perks up for a second, looks, and then there's clear confusion when she sees you. How you know my name?
Well, that's a strange story. Well, I'm your sister, Liana.
She kind of looks at you. Let me. Sense motive is wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't have exact stats, but I can spitball, all things considered. Sense motive is a rogue skill, right?
Yes, it is.
I think.
Cool.
It's part of the rogue skill list.
Yeah, so she eyeballs you for a second, and then like her stern expression, which you're not used to seeing her have, immediately softens, and then she just hugs you, incredibly tight.
Yeah, we'll do pretty much the same arms and tail. I thought you were dead. I heard what happened in the city, but I never got the chance to go to you.
You're telling me I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. I heard you were arrested and in prison. How do you even get out?
It's fucking. dad is apparently a very long, speckled. He told me some things. I don't even know if I believe half of it. But needless to say, he is very clever with a pair of lockpicks.
Oh, well, I suppose I'm glad he is then.
Yes, and also very good at hiding said lockpicks. When the I mean, things happen so fast. There were screams outside, and I don't even know what level we were on, but I am shocked we even made it out. But look at you! I didn't even recognize you. What happened?
Oh. Well, I'm glad you believed me as quickly as you did. I was afraid anyone who knew me would have run away.
I mean, you can't lie to me.
That's fair.
If anything, Mum and put on me, it's making sure to keep the rest of you honest.
It happened sort of suddenly on the way to the city from Violet Maple. Well, you remember what was going on with my shadow for the past, well, the year-ish before all of this happened, right?
Yeah.
It's connected to that. I don't know how much detail you want about that right now. It's a strange situation. I don't know exactly how dangerous it might be yet. But as far as I can tell, there isn't any immediate danger to people around me.
All right.
But well, I could have done without the timing, though. There were a few days where I couldn't walk and we were still on the road. But I'm fine now.
Oh, by the gods. Okay. Well, yeah, like you said, you're fine now. You're alive. You're whole. Maybe some extra bits, but I guess I'd consider that a win over less bits.
Yeah. What about so Dad's here somewhere? Still?
Yes, he's around. He's been, I think, being cooped up on that ship after being in a jail cell made him a little on edge. He's gone out for a walk.
Yeah, that's fair.
I trust to be back.
Well, it seems like he can handle himself pretty well.
Right? He's a...
Well, you must have good stories about that. At least he better, otherwise.
Oh, he's not told me much, but what he has told me, I'm not sure if I believe some of it. But anyways, well, it's I'm not happy about what happened, but at the very least, we're not in that cell anymore. We've not heard nor seen anybody else. Have you seen Mom or Karen or Lena or anybody else from town?
I haven't seen any of our family, but there were some others from town who...
I know about Erstyle.
Oh, yeah, he was the one who told me what happened to you and Dad. But sorry I didn't get the chance to... I wanted to visit to try to figure out what was going on, but I never ended up having a chance before everything happened. But Erstyle's there. So is Tilk, Sveta, Rhea. I haven't seen anybody.
No James? Rhea without a brother is a little strange.
Oh, that's a bit of its own story too.
Oh no.
Well, he wasn't on the same card as we were. I think we were on the last one. I didn't see any others when we were being sent out. Well, and none left at least. But Rhea ran into James later in Adax, and he wasn't in good shape, but we thought everything was fine. He would just need to be nursed back to health. But things started getting a little weird, and all right, you're going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but trust me, I know it was.
I don't know. You're suddenly a tiefling now, I think, and the crazy army of undead that nearly killed us all. I think we're beyond belief at this point. Just lay it on me.
Yeah, that's fair. He is a vampire, or at least he was. I don't know if he's still alive.
Oh, delightful. I'm sure that wasn't awkward at all.
Oh, no, not in the least. It actually was really dangerous, but we managed to fight him off. And he escaped, and it seemed like he was one of a lot of them by the looks of things on the way through the city toward the docks.
Yes, I think I caught a glimpse of some of them nasty things.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like everything from the stories happened all at once.
Yeah. Well, we don't really have a spot figured out where we're gonna curl up and sleep, but you're free to pull up some sand or dirt or whatever, or a bedroll if they even have any to distribute.
Let's see what I have.
Or at least join us for dinner. Hopefully he said he'd be back in time for food. We'll see.
Well, I'd love to do that. It's been way too long. I've been enlisted to help with some of the expeditions, so I'll have to go at first light tomorrow, but I think for now.
Oh, look at you. Moving up in the world, are we?
Well, I was for a little bit before my mentor didn't make it, so at least I don't think he did.
And here I thought I was going to be the one who was going to go off and marry some fancy noble and be some important lady, and you were just going to go study in some library.
Well, I sort of did that. After we arrived in the city, it was strange. We went from being captured by an inquisitor, I think because of me mostly, but maybe some other weirdness, to passed out to mentors by the church. Apparently they saw something in a lot of us after how we had gotten there, I suppose. They tried to, they determined that, I didn't actually say that earlier, I'm sorry. So there seems to be a devil connected to me causing the shadow thing and the tiefling, etc.
Oh, great.
A powerful one. They couldn't excise it, so they sent me to apprentice under Tremock the Blue.
Oh.
You remember me talking about him, right? I had read about him a bit in town.
I think so.
He's a wizard who had been around for a long time. He was main magical advisor to the king and in charge of protecting and warding the city, etc.
Well, shit, our roles really did flip then. Now I'm stuck thieving, and you're some apprentice, some hotshot finger wiggler. Just
like I said, I was. I don't think he made it. Well, I haven't seen him here at least, and he didn't escape with the rest of us. I wouldn't put some form of magical escape past him, but he hasn't shown up again. So
he's a big fancy wizard. I wouldn't worry about it.
That's fair, I suppose. Anyway, that's what I've been doing, along with trying to figure out where everyone else went, I suppose. But, well, I'm glad I found you now.
Yes. I just hope we can find our sisters and mom.
Yeah, me too.
And we're going to move along.
Yeah.
Let's roll on down to last but not least, Rhea.
Yes.
You are going to, yeah. I can hear the clenching.
Yeah.
You go looking for your grandparents. Also partially for James. I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine there's probably a part of Rhea that is kind of hoping to find James, but also kind of dreading it.
Yes, but also no. She is like, I want to, but no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be bad.
Well, luckily for Rhea, no sign of James. But more importantly, looking for your grandparents. No one seems to recognize that description of your grandparents. And you search, and there's no sign of them. And further yet, by extension, you go looking for Father Capon, because if they're with anybody, they'd be with him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, no sign of Father Capon. And nobody seems to know anything about them either. And you spend a good while looking, about an hour, and yeah, it's not great. That said, Rhea knows there's at least one other ship that veered off course part of the way through the journey and has been presumably elsewhere, at the very least. So, all hope is not necessarily lost.
Yeah,
but
she
the
is
way
very
things have been going, it's not great.
She's very anxiously pacing basically around town, just looking, even though she knows that she's already looked there. Because she doesn't want to give up. But to say that she's tense is an understatement about this entire situation.
Fair and valid. So you all kind of wind down for the night. For those of you who haven't found family members, what do you want to do for the rest of the evening? Because I imagine those who did find their families are going to be staying with their families for dinner, at the very least. So, what about you other two?
Rhea will be she will be practicing and just hiring herself out, because otherwise she's just gonna spin around in her head, and that's not gonna go anywhere productive.
Very fair. What about her style?
Her style is going to. He's probably gonna just find a campfire and join whoever's over there that's willing to let him just hang out.
Easily. There are tons of fires, plenty of like pots of stew and stuff, fish stew, but stew, being prepared. You can easily grab some fire, essentially. It's mostly sitting on the ground. There's really not much in the way of chairs. It's either stand or sit.
He's mostly just going to be sitting there reading through all of his notes, going over all of the missed opportunities, from today or from tonight's little excursion, and he's just gonna sit there and slowly just thinking, feeling in his stomach.
Okay. So I think we're gonna go ahead and I guess I want to ask you guys: do you want to keep going, or do you want to stop here?
I think this is
I know
actually.
we kind of started a little late.
I think this is a good stopping point since we're shorter player.
Fair.
Okay.
Might be a good idea to stop here.
All right. We'll stop here and we'll pick up in the morning. And see how you all deal with these alleged people.
Alleged people.
Look. Brandon, out of character-wise, already sitting here, just like consuming people are doppelgangers just because they don't look like humans like him.
Listen, I want
people too.
I want you to understand. Brandon assumes everyone's suspicious. That's how Brandon views everyone.
Like NPCs.
You're right.
Yeah.
And Brandon also apparently just wants to be in control of things. In leadership position.
No,
Not even yourself.
I don't necessarily want to do that. I think it'd be entertaining to do that. Understand, I'm that person in a movie who, when push comes to shove, is in the corner with a gun pointing at anyone who twitches. What's your name? Why do you want to know my fucking name? What, Denny? What the fuck you mean?
Curious, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
I had that legitimate reaction while I worked at a warehouse. Someone asked me, "It's like, so you went to college down south of Florida, right?" And like, what went through my mind immediately is like, "Why the fuck do you care? What do you want from me? What's your angle?" And
You
I'm
trying
like,
to sell me something?
yeah. And there was a part of me that was just like, Brandon, normal people don't react to situations like that in that way. It was a conversation I had with myself in an Uber 4 hours later.
Did you have it
Anyhow,
out loud next to the Uber driver?
I don't think I did. I hope not. I certainly hope not. But I want to thank everyone for listening and for actually being able to hear everyone's voices. Don't think about it. We all greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and spend time with us, and we hope to have you on the next one.
Name this episode.
Send me the name.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo.